Domestic violence can happen to anyone. It happens regardless of your age, gender, sexual orientation, educational or occupational background. Domestic violence occurs in every racial, ethnic, and religious group. It doesn't matter how much money you make or where you live. For victims of domestic violence, safety is the #1 concern. Safety can mean different things, including leaving the abuser. But even under the best circumstances, it's not easy to end a relationship, and many victims of abuse feel trapped. Victims may question, what's going to happen to me? Will the threats get worse? Will there be physical violence? How will I pay the bills? What about my kids? Leaving an abuser oftentimes makes a situation worse and may not be the safest choice. Before you decide what the best course of action is for you, you need to have a plan, a safety plan.
Are you kidding me? I'm gonna kill him.
Stop, Dan. It's not going to help. It will only make things worse.
No, Aunt Beth. Nobody touches my sister.
No, stop it. We need to find a way to help her, and that's not it.
Wait, what exactly did your sister say?
She said he's hitting her.
Unbelievable.
He won't let her do anything. She's scared and she's not sure what to do.
What about calling the police?
She won't do it. Says this is all her problem and all her fault.
What about counseling?
I tried. She thought about it, but she's afraid if she says the wrong thing, that he'll flip out. She says he even went to one of those self-help programs last year, but obviously it didn't work.
We've got to do something.
I was married to a man who did everything in his power to hurt me. Mentally, financially, physically, and sexually. I was with him several years, and I thought that he was a great husband. Until I became more independent. Then things changed. He changed. I educated myself and started a business. And he tried everything to stop me. It seemed like the more successful my business was, the more controlling he became. And he was constantly putting me down. I felt ashamed, like I had failed. Couldn't bear to tell my family or friends. I didn't think I could ask for help. Many nights he would wake me up, hitting me. Reluctantly, I called my mom, and she wasn't surprised. She knew something was up. With the help of my mother and the local domestic violence program, I found a safe way to escape. I learned that I couldn't control my partner's violence, but I can control how I respond to it. Having a safety plan ahead of time made it easier for me to leave. So I stashed money at my mother's house, brought my clothes and my stuff. I secretly opened bank accounts, made a plan to change all my passwords. My mother helped me find a small apartment in a secured building. And I changed the security code and the locks at my business. It was terribly difficult. But on Friday, April 22nd, he went out with his friends, and I left. With the help of my family and the local domestic violence program, I was able to leave my abuser and start over. And I tell you this story because there is hope. There is a way out. You just have to make that call.
All right, I called the domestic violence hotline.
Okay, what did they say?
Well, what was interesting was they didn't say she had to leave, just that it was one of her options. They told me to encourage Jill to call them directly, and they could help her with what they call the safety plan, which apparently is when you consider all your options to come up with a way to reduce your risk. so she can have a safety plan for all situations, whether she decides to stay with him, to leave, or for even after she's left.
But what about the house, cars? They have a lot together.
The hotline will refer her to a local program, and they'll help her figure it all out. They even said there's things that we could do to help, like watch the kids or go with her to appointments, but that she'll be the one to decide what she needs. We just need to let her know that we're there for her.
As both Claire and Tanya found out, a safety plan is a valuable tool in preparing for the future, whether the victim of domestic violence decides to stay in their relationship or leave. The local domestic violence program has trained professionals who can discuss safety planning with victims so they can make decisions and start their journey to freedom. Domestic violence can happen to anyone, but help is available. Many organizations and professionals provide specialized resources, support, and information so that victims of domestic violence can make informed decisions. Reach out to a friend or family member if you think they're being abused. Your willingness to get involved can be a first step to safety. Don't do nothing.
But that was the worst thing that I could do. Just about the worst thing that I could do. It was just about the worst thing that I